Lower Trestles in Southern California's Camp Pendleton is the event site for the ninth stop on the 1990 Bud Pro Surfing Tour. The mainland's biggest first prize is up for grabs in the $100,000 Body Glove Surfbout 3. One surfer from the field of 256 will take home in excess of $30,000. Favorites include San Clemente's Dino Andino, the current tour leader, and the red-hot rookie pro, Kelly Slater from Cocoa Beach, Florida. The point break at Lower Trestles is on fire, and it's burning here on Prime Network. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the $100,000 Body Glove Surfbout 3. I'm Mike Chamberlain, and this is the best waves we've ever encountered on the tour, and the biggest prize money also.
We got hot waves and hot weather and hot surfing. I mean, it's unbelievable out here today, and it's just going to be a heck of a day. The guys are just ripping it off the top, whacking it off the top, doing everything we yell and scream about all the time, and I think this will be one of the best events we've ever had for sure.
Peter, the winner here today goes home with a check for $30,000. I know that sends a shiver up your spine. When you won the title in '76, total purse that year was something like $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah, I didn't even win that for the whole year, along with endorsements or earn it. I mean, the tax department didn't even want to know about me. But out here today, you're going to see just an unbelievable caliber of surfing. Already we've seen Charlie Kuhn get some perfect 10s. Kelly Slater, who's got a couple of perfect 10s. I mean, they're already through to the semifinals. Incredible surfing. A couple of guys are out, though. Lambrisi out once again, not doing so good. Shane Beshan, he lost out. That was a big surprise. And last year's big champion here, Christian Fletcher, didn't even make it to the quarterfinals. So a couple of upsets early going.
Well, let's talk about the judging. This contest is so important today. What are the judges looking for when a rider rides away?
Well, out here today, the surf's so perfect, you're going to have to catch the big set waves. If you catch those little inside ones, one of your competitors gets on an outside one, you haven't got a chance to score the kind of score you're going to get on that bigger wave. So you've got to get the big outside wave with the big outside maneuver if you really want to make it through out here today.
Peter, you know who's going to be the busiest man on the beach today? That would be Chris Morrow, the third member of our broadcast team. Let's check in with Chris right now.
Pressing out. The forecasters were sticking to their guns, though, saying the swell is on the way. Sure enough, Wednesday morning, big swell hit. All of a sudden, it's just been pumping ever since. Here it is, the last day of the contest. There's still waves, and there's going to be some really great surfing. So, Mike, Peter, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris Morrow, who also happens to be ranked in the top 16 on the PSAA Tour. Let's talk about the Body Glove Bodyboard division. It's going to be going off out here. It took place here at Lower Trestles a little bit earlier. Quarterfinal number 1, Chris Brown, Taylor Knox, Pat O'Connell, and Kelly Slater.
Well, the perfect waves were up north straight away, and Taylor Knox picked off an early left here. He was really doing some nice open face moves, finished off with a good re-entry there at the end as it closed out.
And here in the yellow is Pat O'Connell out of Laguna Niguel, California. He's been hot all season long. He's already got a win under his belt on the tour.
Actually, 2 wins, Mike. Remember, he won one Malibu, and here's Kelly Slater, boy. He's red hot all the way from Cocoa Beach. Just turned pro this year, was pulling off some just great aerial moves. Judges are loving it.
And one of my favorites out of Santa Barbara, California, in the right place at the right time all the time, is Chris Brown. So, moving on to the semifinal from this quarterfinal, Chris Brown and Kelly Slater. Well, that brings us to quarterfinal number 2, Chesser, Brillhart, Chewy Reyna, and Dino Andino.
Well, Todd Chesser, he got off to an early start, a couple of clean face moves, but I don't think he was getting the right waves out here today at Trestles in this beautiful conditions.
And here in the blue is Darren Brillhart. He's out of Newport Beach, California. Picked off a nice-looking backside wave here. Beautiful conditions at Lower Trestles.
Well, that was just a beautiful left, one of the best lefts we've seen ridden in the competition in this quarterfinal. Brillhart was great. Dino Andino, he was looking on those rights all the time, trying to drive it down the line, but he really didn't seem a lot of times to really put it all together. And I think I could expect better performances from Dino out here on these perfect Trestles waves.
And in the yellow jersey, Chewy Reyna. He's out of nearby Oceanside, California, just down the coast from the contest here today.
And he was just ripping it. And Chewy was loving these conditions and really putting some good, strong combinations together on the open face.
Chewy Reyna, Darren Brillhart advance on to the semifinals. And that brings us to quarterfinal number 3, Charlie Kuhn, Joey Zintel, Paul Barr, and Ross Williams.
Well, conditions just continue to be flawless. You see everyone taking a look at this one, and two guys are up and riding here, and it was Kuhn who dropped in. And in the early going here on Joey's Intel, and he continued to ride. Intel got left behind, and this gave Kuhn interference in this particular heat.
Out of Hawaii is Ross Williams. You can see he's pulling off all the tricks. A nice looking 360 there and a bank off the whitewater.
Wes Paul Barr was picking up some good ones too, but he wasn't picking off the big ones. And I think what happened here in this heat is that these guys were getting caught inside, and Kuhn made an unbelievable comeback, even with an interference call with this unbelievable wave right here. Just ripped it off the top, and it was really strange here because Kuhn had an interference, and this wave was nearly a perfect 10.
And that left in the blue jersey, Joey Zintel from Huntington Beach, California. Very fluid, very smooth, but Zintel and Charlie Kuhn advance on to the semifinals. Quarterfinal number 4, action-packed with talent, De La Pena, Mitsui, Llamas, and Sean Madison.
And straight away, De La Pena was off and riding, but boy, he was coming unglued, and that was unusual for De La Pena.
Here's Sean Madison out of Carlsbad, California, by way of Florida, and he picked off some good-looking waves, also made some bad-looking mistakes.
Well, this was the heat that had the most mistakes, but Buddy Llamas was picking up these lefts with this beautiful barrel. He just loves those hollow lefts. And look at this beautiful roundhouse wraparound. Beautifully executed. Buddy Llamas was looking the best he'd looked all season on the Bud Tour.
And in the blue jersey is Todd Mitsui from Honolulu. The goofy footer, critical sections, cover-ups, everything you'd hope to see in the surfing action at Lower Trestles today.
Well, the Goofies were loving those lefts, Mike, and as you can see, both of them went through Todd Mitsui and Bud Llamas.
All right, Peter, if the quarterfinals are any indication of what was to come, it's going to get real exciting on Prime Network. Semifinals set to go. Let's talk about semifinal number 1.
What an incredible lineup in the first one. Chris Brown, you know, he's won an event this year. He's just looking unbelievable. In the quarterfinal, he beat Slater with just unbelievable surfing, and they're both in this first quarterfinal. Darren Brillhart, a new face out here, had an incredible quarterfinal. One left was just unbelievable. And also in this one, we got Chewy Rayner, who was in the finals last week at Malibu. So what an opening semifinal, Mike.
Okay, here we go. Semifinal number 1. Let's turn our attention to the Pacific Ocean.
Well, Mike, we're about to get underway here with semifinal number 1. Beautiful, glassy, classic glassy California conditions here. A nice little set starting to swing in. We got all 4 guys out there.
Well, we had a little bit of doubt earlier in the day when the fog didn't lift until the early afternoon, but it did lift, and it is a beautiful Southern California day. Here comes the first action in semifinal number 1, and already we've got a little bit of a battle going on out there. And in the yellow it is Darren Brillhart from Newport Beach, California, finds the open face on the far side. Nice slash off the top there. Good board speed, wrap around cutback. He's working this thing over all the way down the coast now as he works his way into the whitewater, and the other 3 sit out there and wonder what would have happened if they could have dropped into a little bit of a tail block stall. And he is way down, almost out of the competition area now, Peter.
Well, he's nearly down to San Onofre there, Mike, and great opening ride there. The little waves out here have got a little bit less consistent than they were earlier this morning as the tides dropped, but it's still just unbelievable. And those 3 guys are sitting out there now waiting for a set. But a good opening ride. Can somebody get to it? And looking at it, paddling hard. Looks like it'll be Chris Brown up and riding from behind the peak in the red. He drops down to the bottom. He comes up above, squares it up, rips it off the top. Beautiful opening move there. Another one, rips it off the top again. Look at this classy wall in front of him. A nice snap on the open face. Now he slows it down, looking for that open face again. Up floater over the lip there, and down the inside, but outside, Mike, up and riding in the blue.
Kelly Slater, they say he may be the ultimate future of surfing, and he slides under the white green wall. Look at this big line in front of him. Unbelievable trim and board speed. He'll never make it to the end of it, so he goes for the big floater, and somehow comes up on his feet.
Meanwhile, right behind him, Chewy Rayner up, rips it off the top, drops back into it again, a roundhouse wraparound. Now down to the inside. And cuts it back into the whitewater again. Rayner down the inside, looks for the big move on the whitewater and comes down there. But, Mike, we should go back again and take a look at that aerial move there of Slater at the end of that wave.
Unbelievable. He had unbelievable board speed going up down the line. And finally, at the end, just grabs all kinds of air. And I assumed it was over, but he landed on his feet. Crowd here goes crazy. Score 1 for Kelly Slater.
Chris Brown's way down there in the middle. He might have a shot at this good inside peak here. Look at it, Mike. It's swinging right at him. I don't know if he's going to be too deep, but he's going to be behind a big section. Is he going to take a look at it? He does. Here goes Chris Brown. He's got a big wall in front of him. He's up and riding, though.
trying to build up that board speed. He goes down to the bottom. He's got a big section to beat. He goes up off the whitewater, rides along it there beautifully. Down to the bottom, squares it off, snaps off the open face. But outside, here goes Kelly Slater, baiting.
Four-time U.S. Amateur Champion, absolutely upside down that time. Somehow recovers everything. Unbelievable coordination on a surfboard. What a beautiful sight it is here at Lower Trestles between Orange and San Diego County. About a 2.5-second floater. Vertical one more time. This kid is just ripping. He is setting the ocean on fire. He is hot, and I'm going to tell you, Kelly Slater, just look at that wave again, Peter, and look at some of the maneuvers he pulled off. The first one, the upside-down vertical.
Well, I want to go right back to the start because a real interesting takeoff. He actually faded to the left, and then he came around to set up that big vertical move. You don't see a lot of guys do that, to have the confidence to fade that far left into the peak before you set up. Great move from Kelly Slater on the outside.
The 1-1, it's still in the water right now.
Well, out in the water right now, Chris Brown taking a look at this one. Paddles in, he's got some white water on the face. He drops to the bottom, goes off the bottom here, comes off the top, a little snap off the open face on this white watery looking face here, drops down the bottom, snaps hard off the top right there. Brown, he goes down the bottom, he wraps it off the top. Oh, but loses it coming down. A mistake there from Chris Brown.
Oh, that's going to cost him. The 19-year-old from Santa Barbara, California, catches the inside edge of that rail, and then as a result, drops down in the water. And we continue on, semifinal number 1. We've got a double paddle going here. It looks as though it's Chewy Reyna and Darren Brillhart and Peter Townend. That's not going to work. That's trouble written everywhere on this wave.
Well, they could have eliminated themselves there, Mike, because it looked like a double interference to me. I mean, they both get up at the same time. They both want to go the opposite direction. They run straight into each other. They go, look at it, they're pushing at each other. They're shoving. I think the judges are going to call it on both of them, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, they got to the intersection at the same time, and they both ran the red light, so that's going to be costly. It looks for possibly both of them. You can tell that Brillhart is called automatically with the interference. Kelly Slater up and at it, the 4-time U.S. Amateur Champion. Oh, goes down on his stomach, back up on his feet. That's going to cost him a few points. 18 years of age from Cocoa Beach, Florida. One of the bright superstars of the future. There's no question about it when it comes to Kelly Slater. We called his name at the OP Junior, where he won it not this year, but the year before.
Well, and an incredible move by Slater on the open face there. He went for a 360, lost it, and got back up again. Incredible. Here we go. Chewy Reyna dropping in, goes to the bottom, off the top there, straight up on that whitewater, trying to come back from that potential interference. Here he is working that inside, a roundhouse wraparound off the whitewater again. And another snap. And Chewy Reyna working it over for all he's got here. Another cut back into the whitewater. Really putting together a lot of moves there, but outside, Chris Brown, Mike.
Chris Brown, currently number 3 on the Bud Pro Surfing Tour, Mr. Smooth. We call it the Chris Brown wraparound, and there it is right there. He's always in the right place at the right time. He's only 19 years of age, still a teenager from Santa Barbara, California, and up the peak is Darren Brillhart.
Well, nice roundhouse wraparound there from Brillhart on a smaller looking wave. He snaps it off the top there. Bit of a tentative snap, trying to make something happen on the inside. Another little snap on the open face. Floater off the whitewater, but he's going to have to do a lot better than that with a potential interference also in this heat. And he's still working it over, but I'd hurry out back outside if I was him and look for one of those big set waves, because interference, as we saw in the quarterfinals with Charlie Kuhn, you can come back for it, but you need a big wave.
Oh, and would you look at this? Kelly Slater cover up right at the beginning of the wave. He's inside the tube for a good 2 or 3 seconds. Good wraparound cutback. He's in position again. Lots of open green face in front of him. This is about as pretty as it gets. Side slips. The rail goes backwards. He pulls it out. He goes into another cover-up. The guy is surfing out of his mind here at Lower Trestles. Finally, the wave collapses around him, but Peter Townend, that is as good as it gets in professional surfing.
Incredible control there from Kelly Slater. I mean, he went off the top that one time. It was so radical. He lost it on the way down, and somehow he got it back together. I thought he was going to fall off. Well, let's take a look at it again from the outside, and the opening of the wave was unbelievable. He just gets in the barrel so clean. It bounces off his head a little bit at the end. Then he gets on this open face, and this wave just had incredible open face. Beautiful roundhouse wrap around and rebound off the whitewater there from Slater.
Well, Peter, semifinal number 1, everything that we hope for, big waves, great surfing.
Oh, incredible. And, you know, Kelly Slater got 5 perfect 10s on that one wave. That was just unbelievable surfing. We had an interference call, and, you know, without question, Kelly Slater's in the final. There's no question about that. For second place, I'd have to say Chris Brown's got the best shot. I think the interference between Rayner and Brillhart threw those guys off. And without question, though, Kelly Slater, boy, what action.
All right, I'm looking down on the beach, and I see that Chris Morrow has shanghaied Kelly Slater into an interview. Let's find out how Kelly felt about that semifinal heat.
All right, Kelly Slater put together quite a heat there. A couple tens on that last wave. How'd you feel?
I felt great. My first wave, my feet were a little slippery. It's just from the rocks. But I pulled that air. There wasn't really much else on that wave. And then, I paddled back out, and I just had to be patient because of my heat before. Everybody's saying that's why I lost to Chris, just because I wasn't catching sets. So I just tried to get out there and just have patience, and I knew that the waves would come in. So, they did, and luckily I got on them.
Sort of paid off for you in that last set, definitely.
Yeah, it did. I had a good time on that one.
All right, Kelly, best of luck to you if you made it.
Thanks.
All right, we're just about set for semi-final number 2, Peter.
And it's just going to be another exciting one. Charlie Kuhn looking unreal once again. He's been near the top of the leaderboard all year, and he's obviously so consistent. He had perfect tens this morning. I think he's could have a shot at the finals again today. Also, we're going to have some new faces. Out here, Joey Zintel. He looked unreal in quarterfinal action. Also, we're going to have Todd Mitsui. We haven't seen him since he was in the finals at Makaha. And Buddy Llamas. Boy, it's been a long time since we saw him in the semifinals, Mike.
Should be fun. Semi-final number 2.
Okay, semi-final 2 underway already, Mike. Look, paddling straight into it. Up and riding, dropping into it. Charlie Kuhn in the quarterfinals. Boy, he had an interference call and still managed to get through it. It was really an unbelievable wave. He had a couple of tens on it. Here he's working this one over, riding it a little conservatively, I think. Opening ride for Charlie Kuhn. I think he could have done a bit more with it, and he'll kick out. But meanwhile, outside, here comes the second wave right now.
Up and at it in the yellow right now is Todd Mitsui, 22 years of age, from Honolulu, Hawaii. And the goofy footer going backside on this one. Not a lot to work with, but he'd rather pick it off than sit outside and wonder what had happened if he hadn't. So he's working it up and down right now. His current ranking, number 44 on the tour, and a nice looking little peak outside, Peter.
Well, we've got two guys left out there, Joey Zintel and Bud Llamas, with a nice couple of waves starting to stack up for them. Let's see if they get in position. They let the first one go. I think the one behind it's going to have a little bit more wedge to it. No, it looks like Buddy Llamas has deeper outside position. Can he get into it, though? He's going to have to paddle hard. He's a strong paddler, Buddy Llamas. He gets up on his backhand. Big section to beat, goes round it, gets covered up, grabs the rail. Does he come out? He does. Buddy Llamas still in the pocket, drives down the line on his backhand, comes off the top, snaps it onto the open face. Now down the inside racetrack section, and Llamas there with a great outside move. A rail grabber, floater on the inside, comes down with it. And a good opening ride for Buddy Llamas there, Mike.
Well, the 29-year-old from Huntington Beach, California, dropped in. He paddled hard. He's a big bull of a guy, and he grabbed the rail and got some cover up on that wave, and then just fought himself on down the line, had a floater at the end of it, so a real high-scoring wave from Bud Llamas. Peter, they're scratching for position out front. We have heard about the first semifinal pass on the news.
Well, it was no surprise that Kelly Slater's going to be in the final, Mike, and he's out there. But we were right again this time. Chris Brown's going to be joining him as we see a beautiful peak starting to take shape here in semi-final number 2. And paddling for it, a little bit of a hassle going on. Somebody going to go left, somebody going to go right. They're going to split it. Buddy Llamas in the barrel on the left. I don't think he's coming out. Meanwhile, on the right, ripping it around into the whitewater's Charlie Kuhn. Buddy Llamas took the gamble, went for the barrel, didn't pay off. Meanwhile, Kuhn on the inside, rips it off the top, goes down the inside again, one more maneuver, floater over the whitewater. But Mike, Charlie Kuhn in this heat, I don't think he's really putting everything into it. I mean, he had a great quarterfinal where he overcame an interference and got tens on one wave. I just don't think he's hitting it hard enough at the moment.
He's had a couple of long rides. I'm not sure if the maneuvers are radical enough for the judges' decisions, but nonetheless, he's there. He's involved in it. You can't count him out right now. In the blue, this is Joey Zintel from Huntington Beach, California. Haven't seen a lot of them in this semifinal. Finds him up in face. Nice looking floater, 2-second hang time, and works it outside. Out back, they're scratching and kicking.
Once again, splitting the peak, two goofy foots. Todd Mitsui goes left, Bud Llamas on his backhand. Mitsui with a big slash, but Llamas getting the open face down the inside. Here he goes, rips it upside down on his backhand. Flying down the line, looking for this big section. A nice floater over the whitewater. Round it again, upside down right there in that section. And a good comeback there for Bud Llamas after getting that tube a while ago and not coming out of it. So
the biggest and the best wave, if it's not going to crash on top of him, he goes to his rear, wheels around, and there it is. It's going to be a backside attack. big old wave, and he slides under the whitewater right now, right out by the kelp bed. Oh, and he comes out of that vertical maneuver. All kinds of open face for the big, they call him the refrigerator, and he's still working it over.
And outside another wave in this set, a beautiful one. Charlie Kuhn squares it off the bottom, comes off the top, drops into this next section. With that big chunk of kelp, gets covered up from the top there. A beautiful move from the veteran Charlie Kuhn, a roundhouse wraparound into the whitewater. And two great waves in a row there. The two biggest waves without question in semi-final number 2. Has to put both those guys in contention here for getting in the finals today here at Trestles.
And Charlie continues to work this wave on down the line. It's amazing how far they can ride them. When the waves are big at Trestles, they seem to go on forever. Currently rated number 2 on the Bud Pro Surfing Tour. Started surfing at age 10 in Cocoa Beach, Florida. To the top 5 on the Bud Pro Surfing Tour. The top 5 represent the most consistent competitors up to this, the 9th stop on the PSAA Tour. And the charge is led by this guy, Dino Andino. He's a relentless competitor, and he took the time to talk about his co-stars.
I think Charlie surfing's incredible, smooth and polished, along with Chris Brown too, and Shad Madison and Pat O'Connell. They're all, any of us could win a heat. I mean, it's not like any of us have a real big advantage, you know. I mean, we're all like equal. I mean, I don't consider anybody better than anybody. It's just like a matter of who gets the waves and who's on that day, you know, because you never know what could happen.
At the bottom of the top 5 is young Pat O'Connell from Laguna Niguel, California. He won the Imperial Beach event. That was his first pro victory. And the last stop on the tour at Malibu, becoming the only surfer to win 2 events this year. He's thrilled to be in the top 5.
In the top 5, it's insane because the beginning of the year, I never expected to be in the top 5. And now that, you know, I've won 2 events and I've had a better year than I've ever expected to have, you know, as a rookie it is. And, you know, coming into the year, I was hoping just to make the top 30 to get, you know, a main round seed. And to get in the top 5, it's unbelievable. It's funny because when I look back and I see all the guys in the, you know, the 40s and 50s, I'm like, God, you know, those guys surf insane. You know, why aren't they up there with me? And it's just, you know, I just had a couple of good breaks and, you know, things are just going my way, so I'm really stoked.
There they are, the top 5, the ones to watch in 1990.
All right, Charlie Kuhn.
And daddy of them all on the Bud Tour.
Well, there's no question, $30,000. This is the one you want to win to put in the bank. You can buy a house after this one, you know. And what a final we got shaping up here today. I mean, Chris Brown, he's looked unbelievable. He has a shot at getting up into the lead today. Kelly Slater, I mean, 5-10s in the semifinals. He's looking unbelievable. The consistent Charlie Kuhn, he's looking fantastic out here. And, of course, we haven't seen Bud Llamas, the mayor of Huntington, around for some time. And he's looking really good on his backhand out here today. So, exciting final coming up.
Hey, pull up a chair, get comfortable. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. It's the finals of the $100,000 Body Glove Surf Bout 3.
Well, Mike, we're underway with the finals. $30,000 out here right now. This is the granddaddy, as we said. And here's a little set straight away. Let's see who wants to open up. Looks like down here on the end. 2 guys looking at it. Let's see what happens. Chris Brown goes on his forehand. Slater with the backside rail grab gets covered up. Brown off the top. Great opening from 2 great surfers. Oh, a tail sliding off the top from Brown down there on the end. Whacks it off the top. Slater straightens out, but Brown's still going. Meanwhile, behind him, Charlie Kuhn in the yellow, Mike.
Charlie Kuhn from Florida is just screaming down the open face of that wave. Goes a little bit vertical. This thing is really shaping up nice for him. He can really play with this thing. He goes back and forth. Little bit of green wave still to go. He's going to connect now to the other section of this wave in time for one big bash, and it's a small floater off the top. So, Peter, right off the get-go, we've got 3 good waves.
Well, a great little opening backside rail grab from Kelly Slater. As we take a quick look at it again, he just takes off in the pocket, lets Brown go right, and pulls up in there, grabs it, gets covered up, pops out. A nice little opening ride, but I think Chris Brown had a better ride down the other side with a couple of really nice rips off the top.
Well, it ought to be pretty. Here he is. They call him the refrigerator. He goes left side. It's a backside attack for him. Bud Llamas from Huntington Beach, California. Good little green wall in front of him. Nice spray of water off the tail block of his board. Now just flying down the open face. There's the wraparound cutback. Outside, they're scratching and kicking.
And up and riding, Slater goes up into the lip, drops down onto the open face. Roundhouse wraparound into the pocket right there. Drops down on the open face. Another roundhouse into the pocket again. And Slater down the inside gets a little layback cover up there under the lip. And Slater there with 3 good strong moves, 2 roundhouse wraparounds and a layback cutback. Continues to work it over down the inside, but outside, corduroy to the horizon once again.
Here goes Charlie Kuhn. He's going to take a look at this one from Florida. Good line in front of him. Gets a great cover-up, big-time cover-up. Off to the top. There it is. Big sea spray off the end of his board. Good little section. He's in the racetrack part of it right now. Outside, it looks as though it is Chris Brown.
And Chris Brown drops to the bottom, squares it off the top. Beautiful under the open face. Roundhouse wraparound into the pocket, off the whitewater there. Lots of speed from Brown outside. Another roundhouse wraparound into the pocket. Looked just like Slater's too, but he had that bigger outside move. Another roundhouse wraparound in the pocket from Chris Brown, and he's just ripping the heck out of this wave. Down the inside racetrack section, off the top again, a little floater over that lip, and I'd say that's the best wave so far in the final, Mike.
Well, let's take a look at it one more time, because Chris Brown always in the right place at the right time. Peter Townend called it the Chris Brown wraparound. I guess we'd have to stick with that one right now. In every critical section, he would draw himself back into it, he'd get ahead of it, then draw himself back into it again. He kept himself in this wave to perfection. So Chris Brown out of Santa Barbara, big score on the scorecard, I'm sure. Welcome back, everybody, to Surfing on Prime Network. Mike Chamberlain, Peter Townend, and the 4 finalists in the water right now. Brown, Slater, Kuhn, and Llamas.
Mike, look at this set. Unbelievable. There's like 1, 2, maybe 3 giant waves, the biggest waves of the final so far. This might even be an 8-foot set, the biggest set of the whole contest here in the finals. Look at this wave on the inside of this peak. Dropping into it, Kelly Slater takes the drop. Look at that green face. Goes up, snaps on the open face, cuts back, drops down into it again. Comes off the bottom, roundhouse wraparound into the pocket. Setting up for the inside, out on the open face. Big roundhouse into the pocket, gets covered up. Behind him though, Mike, look at this wave shaping up.
Charlie Kuhn has got an unbelievable wall of ocean in front of him. Oh, and a nice slash off the top. Here's the big bottom turn. He catches up with the white water at the top and another drop back down. Good clean face still in front of him. He's going to make the run for it right here. Oh, and a nice floating drop down to the bottom. So Charlie Kuhn answers with a good-looking wave to the one that was answered right before by Kelly Slater.
Well, Slater's was definitely better. As I sent you outside to pick up Kuhn, Slater finished off on the inside with a phenomenal ending move. And we'll just take a look at it real quick. It was just a great move, and that had to be a real high-scoring ride for Kelly Slater.
And while Kelly catches his breath, let's check in with Chris Morrow on the beach.
All right, a man behind the scenes here on the Bud Pro Tour. This is Bill Sullivan. Bill in charge of the ratings, and we got quite a race going on right now, don't we, Bill?
We do, Chris. Incredible performances today by 2 of the finalists, Chris Brown and Charlie Kuhn. Definitely going to be putting a lot of heat on Dino Andino, the leader, as we go into Florida.
So the title race is definitely tightening up. Let's take it back to the surf action out in the water.
Well, Peter, I think you are looking at the biggest set of the afternoon here at Lower Trestles. This could be as big as an 8-foot wave set pulling through right now. And out the back, let's see who's going to pick it off. It's Bud Llamas. He'll go backside. Look at the size of this wave, well over his head. Big slash. He's still got a lot of open ocean to work with. A big wave. It's still forming up nicely for him. So he's had 2 big slashes. The backsider just ripping this wave to shreds. Another big-looking bottom turn. Whitewater flying everywhere. And he ends it all with an elevator floater. And he finally goes into the whitewater. That's a high-scoring wave.
Well, that'll be
for
close.
the French.
That'll be close to 10s there, Mike. That was incredible. As good a backside wave we've seen in this event. Outside, the set still pouring through. Slater's got back out there, and here he is. Oh, he got it away from the other guys. A square bottom to him. Oh, vertical, straight up. Drops down to the bottom, squares it up again. An open face snap. He sets up again, drives down the line, comes off the top, sets up for the inside, goes off the bottom, floats over that whitewater around this section, and a big snap on the inside. Meanwhile, outside, Charlie Kuhn, Mike.
Charlie Kuhn trying to follow right in the tracks of Kelly Slater's surfboard. He's working it over. Little critical inside section here. Little bitty wraparound, little green wall in front of him.
And outside, it looks like Chris Brown, Mike.
Chris Brown, currently rated number 3 on the PSAA Bud Pro Surfing Tour. He picks off the 4th and final wave of this set. Oh, and a good little bottom turn. Unbelievable surfboard control. Here's the wraparound by Chris Brown. He's trying to make it happen. He's trying to pull out all the stops in the final minutes here of the Body Glove Surf Bout 3. $30,000 to the eventual winner, but Kelly Slater, I think, may have won that exchange big time.
Well, he had an unbelievable wave, but don't be surprised if that wave of Bud Llamas was right up there with it, because he had 4 unbelievable backside snaps under the lip and also finished off with a big floater of his own down there on the end. Slater too, though, had the big vertical outside wave. I'd say that it's going to be real close scoring in that exchange.
Here it looks like maybe the last wave of the afternoon.
Well, it looks like it's going to be split between Llamas and Brown. There goes Llamas to the left, Brown to the right. This might be the last ride. Couple of moves on the inside. I think Llamas is getting the better of it there, Mike.
Definitely get a little bit more tube out of the whole thing, and the buzzer in the background tells you that the body glove finals have come to a conclusion here at Trestles, and we saw some great surfing, Peter.
It's unbelievable, Mike. I mean, the sun's setting on, as you say, one.
2-4. Okay, here's the big check now for over $30,000. Let's listen in.
Wow, look at that. Slater's first big win. Oh, boy, is he happy about it. I would be too. $30,000. Oh, he's a happy young man. He's going to walk away with that big check.
Well, you get the feeling this is the first of many checks to come for this young man out of Florida. Over 30 grand the first time out.
Well, he beat Chris Brown today, and Brown had his measure one time, and behind them, Charlie Kuhn and Bud Llamas. Big results.
Well, we have to hand out a few congratulations. Some big money handed out here today at Trestles. Let's start with Mike Stewart. Mike, interesting aftershave. It smells